reasons I'm emphasizing and kind of trying to bring public the degree to which the military has been increasingly involved, not only in advising but protecting President Trump. People kind of realize with this executive order that Donald Trump signed on December 21st, we are in a state of emergency. It's been declared. Now, it has not been made a big deal of. It was buried inside the executive order. You had to read it, where it came across and said, for these reasons, I hereby declare we are in a state of national emergency. That gives the president exceptional powers. It enables the president to begin activating the military, to begin taking exceptional powers, even convening military tribunals, having martial law declared if necessary.
And let's come back from breaking it into this, because this is such a big topic and it ties into COG and the plans to assassinate the president and all of it. This is not, people go, Alex, this is what you warned of. No, if the globalists might use this against us, we're now in a fight for the very country. We are in an emergency. This is what the president should be doing. We are in an emergency with these foreign globalists running rampant, engaged in crimes at every level. We have them. We are in an emergency. This is exactly what the president should be doing. Correct, Doctor?
Absolutely, 100%. And ultimately, Donald Trump knows that the end game here is that the charges that are going to be brought ultimately against Hillary and Barack Obama involve sedition and treason. And these are, Donald Trump has no intent of letting go of this until those two are brought to justice.
And he's confident and competent, because everything his dad taught him, everything he learned has now been echoed by the patriots and the government and the people, and he knows he's with us, lined up. As long as we stick with Trump, we're going over the top. We're going to crush the enemy. We'll be right back. Thank you, Alex Newman. More with Dr. Corsi straight ahead. Infowars.com, newswars.com, and thenewamerican.com. We're in a death battle. The globalists want to dominate the United States. They want to use it as an engine of world evil, but it is now slipping away from them back into the hands of the people. Does that mean we're perfect? There's some utopia? No, but we want our nation. We want free market. We believe in the very progressive, in a good sense, ideals of America, not the cancerous progression of globalism, collectivism, communism, Sorosism, and other unsundry diseases. Dr. Jerome Corsi is our guest. He talks about the executive order that President Trump put into place a few months ago. We'll put on screen, that puts the country under a civil emergency. We'll put that document we had earlier back on screen, please. That's it. WhiteHouse.gov, executive order blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. Then you can Control F and you can search emergency for anybody that wants to read it. And the country under U.S. code, under U.S. law, is put into an emergency. Now, the globalists have done this, let the Federal Reserve and the UN and things run things, since about the late 60s. And it was all done under universal disarmament. And it was all done by the academics. The presidents didn't even really understand it. They were told, sir, it's just a UN peace proclamation, no big deal. But under that framework, they started building the world government. Now Trump is using, we'll put that back on screen, please. I want to read that quote. Thank you. Now Trump is using the very systems they put in place of executive edict to blow up TPP, to renegotiate NAFTA and GATT, you name it. So there it is. I therefore determine that serious human rights abuse and corruption around the world constitute an unusual, extraordinary threat to the national security. That's the foreign globalists are attacking us. And foreign policy and economy of the United States. So he's saying these global organized crime groups, the child trafficking, New World Order globalists, are doing this. And so I am saying it's a crisis. It is for the United States. And we are doing everything we can now to change that and to bring the republic back into the control of the American people, as he promised to do in the inauguration. Going back to the executive order, please. And it says, I therefore determine that serious human rights abuses and corruption around the world constitute an unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security, foreign policy, and economy of the United States. And I hereby declare a national emergency to deal with that threat. Now, let's stop right there. They have been really getting scared since this happened. They claim they rolled over to him at Davos, said he's the most wonderful guy ever. They love him. Prosperity's great. They're going to get behind America. But that's rhetoric. In actions, they got even crazier, trying to shut us down, taking control of the republic And yes, that means all the globalist tentacles. Yes, it means the U.S. just took control of the planet. They were setting it up to take us down. You could say it was a setup from the beginning. I'm not sure if that's the case, but I can see the architecture of it. But Trump's actually not even using that power now. He's actually dynamiting it and making deals with people like you do in a two-way street, being pragmatic and moral and just and decent. Doesn't mean he's a shrinking violent. Doesn't mean he's a wimp. It just means he understands the real mojo of actually straight shooting. Now, the Clintons and their trafficking, all of it is being devastated by this. The Saudi Arabians have been cut off, everything. I was told very early on by our sources that before he was the nominee, he had Eric Prince and those groups watching and running their own counterintelligence operations. I was told that, never announced it on air. I mean, I made mentions that, you know, he had some former military people protecting him. Then it came out in the news, so I was ready to talk about it. But it's not just Eric Prince and all that. If you get in all the details, top generals basically told Flynn, if you'll take the assignment, the other ones wouldn't do it. They said, who will draw the short straw and go in here to do this? The globalists are allied with the Islamicists. They're allied with Saudi Arabia. We're being totally overrun. We're being set up to be collapsed. Hillary's going to shut down the free press. They mean to target the veterans. They mean to bankrupt everything. This is horrible for business. This is not done as some goody two-shoes thing. Like this is a horrible thing. Globalism's even worse than we thought. We've got to take control of the country. The people are ready. The numbers show it. They had all the real algorithms from Google, Facebook, everywhere showing, you know, Trump was going to be super popular if he ran. Trump got drafted. He talked about this already by people that said they were going to back him, patriots in the government. So I'm giving you some background here. Trump then runs. He's a stalwart. He stands up. In the face of it all, he wins. Even though Hillary did steal 5 to 6 states, Trump won by a landslide. He still got it over the top. Squeaked by. And now they're in total panic mode because of all the crimes they've committed, because the point of putting Trump in was to shut all that down and to not bring in lobbyists and to actually restore the republic and have open bidding processes and do what made the country great. That's why they're crapping their britches, because all their corruption's getting cut off. Their money's getting cut off. Okay? And so we've now entered this area, and you've got reportedly a lot of attempts on the president, very serious ones. They've got people wound up inside. They've got all sorts of things going on to try to kill the president. They're attacking his family viciously. They're going after all his renters, all his owners, all the people that own condos in his buildings, all of his golf course memberships. I mean, the harassment I have enjoyed has been spectacular. But reportedly, it is done ultra massively just to average people that are anywhere connected to Trump to create a huge feedback loop against him. Now, Dr. Corsi started getting into recent attempts, but I just want the globalists to know this. Before Trump was even elected, he knew and was advised this would happen. And there are plans already in place. If he is decapitated, Trump sees himself very fatalistically as a sacrificial lamb, and it will be the detonator that within minutes of the president being killed, the switches are thrown. And the entire globalist operation goes from trying to fix things peacefully and trying to bring the republic back and trying to let you guys take your stolen money and just go for the better of everybody so there's not a big war. But if you do that or you move against the people or anything else, the switches are already in place. And this isn't a bluff. Everybody knows I don't bluff. Everybody knows I don't just run my mouth. That is the plan right now. That everybody that's been wanting to get their bloody war and wanting to, you know, make their bones and everything. I get Phil Mudd never killed anybody. He wants to make his bones. And I mean, I understand all that, okay? The point is that that's what this is all about. And these are globalists. These are American haters. They want to make their bones on the American people. They want, existentially, they've been robbing us, ripping us off, screwing us over. Weak-minded criminals always demonize their prey to make them feel good about what they're doing, unless they're a total psychopath. And a lot of these globalists aren't psychopaths. They're just control freaks. They're weak. They want power. They lie to themselves. So a lot of them are psychopaths, but a lot of the mid-level and others are just mercenaries or cowards. And so they hate America because they need to when they do all this bad stuff. They need to have that excuse that there's a mission. So their operating system is this whole leftist ideology of garbage. When we come back and give Corsi the floor for 2 segments. I may just walk out here so I can listen to him and hear what he has to say. But everybody, I think at this point, I really thought about it the last few weeks. and I kind of course, he kind of forced my hand when he brought this up separately. We haven't discussed this. You don't even discuss this type of stuff. And with his sources and our sources, his are even better than mine, right there at the White House. And they were just like, Corsi, you don't need to make the big attention being in the briefing room. We'll just give you all the info. And so that's what's going on. They're so pissed about it. They can't stand it. So you're getting stuff directly from the real patriots that are still in the White House, that know what's going on, that know what's happening. And people just need to know that all these globalists have to ask themselves, do you want Trump and America bad enough? Because you'll never make it out of your bunker like Hitler. You are not going to make it out of this. And listen, I'm not afraid of dying, and either of the rest of us, okay, that are patriots. We're afraid of being cowardly scum like you. We're afraid of being bloated ticks and demonic child molesters. You understand? You're over here, globalists. We want to be over here. Doesn't mean we're perfect, but we love God. You understand? We're not afraid of you. We're afraid of being like you. We're afraid of you living over us and running our lives and pissing on our faces. So understand, you want to fight? I don't know how all this is going to end. Just like I told you a long time ago, you want to fight? You better believe you got one. So fill your hand. Because at the end of this, when the smoke settles, you know where you're going. You're going straight into the ash heap of history because you're a bunch of damn losers. You globalists need to run up your white flags and get your ass out of town right now. I guarantee you, you're going to get it handed to you big time. You want to go down this road? We wrote this road. We'll be back. Because you can't back down. Then things just get 100 times worse. There is no backing down. That's the big lie, folks. You cannot back down. You think you back down, you just get overrun. All right, Dr. Corsi, you just heard me break down the way I see things, the way I understand things, and the will of the patriots in this country. And I know behind the scenes, a lot of people from the deep state who knew what was really going on, understood that globalism was really evil and really bad and that we were about to truly go into it. There were a lot of people when they learned what Hillary was up to, what Obama wanted to do, how he really did back the Muslim Brotherhood, how they really were planning to end free speech in America when Hillary got in. They forced the patriots in government and in the private sector to move against the New World Order. We forced them out in the open. We've hurt them badly. They don't know how to give up. They don't know how to quit. We've given them quarter. They don't want quarter. I say, and by saying this, I make myself their biggest enemy other than Trump. They're not giving us quarter. Let's ram speed. Let's go. Let's just go. And I'm not that old. I'm not that smart. I just know it's dangerous. I understand the nuanced way to crush them and choke them like a big boa constrictor, and I'd like to go that direction. And we kind of just forget them, crush them, and leave them behind. They're not going to let us do that. They know we're crushing them. They know we're wrapped all around them, okay? That's my educated view on this. What is yours, Dr. Corsi? Let's get into your intel on an attempt on the president's life in the last week, a plot discovered, and yes, the fact that the military, particularly the Army, as you said, is encamped around Trump and has been since he took the mission.
Well, and I want to explore one other part of this, and that is that since Trump signed that executive order, there's military intelligence has superiority over all the other forms of intelligence. It is the preeminent form of intelligence. There's a Supreme Court decision, Reynolds v. U.S. in the 50s, that established military intelligence has ascendancy and superiority, ability to rule the game over all the alphabet intelligence agencies, CIA, and all the rest of them. Now, since Trump signed that executive order, military intelligence is a group of military intelligence that works 100% of the time with NSA. So they're familiar with all of the domestic intelligence, which the CIA is not supposed to access. Probably the CIA, of course, violates that at will, but the NSA and the military intelligence work together. So now that that is signed, Trump has access. He sees everything. He hears everything that these traitors have been doing, including going back and getting all the data on them going through the election. Trump is now privy, as is military intelligence, with the exact nature of the plots that were being formed back when Hillary started funding Fusion GPS. Eric Schmidt, who funded crowdsource, trying to prove the Russian collusion meme, that theme on the attack on Democratic National Committee's computers, all of that. Trump has got the entire scope of this. Now, he's going to lay out the predicate of this very
And that's
carefully.
how they were able to tell you a year ago that 80% of the bots were Soros stuff in Russia. You even named the group. And I mean, you broke it all. It's crazy.
Well, and by the way, the press room at the White House, there's no real news going on in the press room. It's an act up hour. Even the White House acknowledges that press is so far in the bag for Hillary, so far over on the side of the globalists that it's hardly worth dealing with at all. I wouldn't be surprised in the next 6 months that press room isn't closed down. Now, the point is that with the intelligence that Trump has and what he now has disseminated, you're seeing the predicate of what's going to be massive prosecutions already developed. It started with the Nunes memo, which was the game changer, when we realized that the Fusion GPS lying dossier was used to get the FISA court approval for electronic surveillance. It's extended. Grassley wrote a very detailed version of Nunes's memo, which called out names, dates. Neither of these have even been answered by the Democrats. The Democrats have not been able to put together a response to any of this because the American public is now coming to understand that Hillary got opposition research, went to get a British guy, this guy Steele, who fabricated.
Sure. Our audience understands that. I'm listening. I want to get into the attempts. We'll get to this next segment. The attempts on the president's life. We know a lot of these are going on, but you're saying intel in the last week, because this is newsworthy. I know you've got great sources. Tell us specifics.
I can tell you some of the specifics, but I'll
well, just tell us everything you can tell us.
It got reported that what was reported was that a gun was found in one of the drivers from the press that was going to be in the motorcade with President Trump. And they reported that a weapon was found and that the person who had the weapon was apprehended. That's all that was reported. What I've learned since then was that it was a military intercept that basically provided that information of the Secret Service, and the full nature of what was behind all of that has now been explored and dealt with. That's really about all I want to say about that. But that confirmed to me that the military intelligence is now actively working to monitor all communications and to determine threats to the president at a capacity.
And to be clear, the enemy knows how this works. One way to do it is you're not spying on people in real time. Everyone that's associated in connection to the president is with this grid is being watched. And when the tripwire hits that they have connected up the chain to the conspirators, then that activates, and then a human looks at what's actually being done.
Well, and in some ways it's deeper than that. It's almost that now the military intelligence together with the NSA have, and you've got to remember the real hero in a lot of this was Admiral Rogers at the NSA. He's the one who came over and told Trump during the transition.
November 17th about the whole thing.
And so the NSA now has really thrown open all the switches and is working directly with military intelligence and the White House. And what they're doing is providing the information systematically to Congress so it can be disseminated to the American people.
And by the way, Dr. William Binney, the former head of technical at the NSA, he's hinted that his Pompeo meetings and others, there's obviously been more connections, is going back to his original program that actually works, that doesn't spy on everybody, but targets certain things. And the word is similar type things have now actually been put into place, not dragnets, but targeted stuff.
And very effectively targeted stuff. So that it's going to be, Donald Trump is going to be monitored and protected at a level that no previous president has ever been protected at. And the military have determined that the end game here is going to involve military tribunals. You can't try Hillary or Obama or any of the top people in a civil court, U.S. District Court, where the judge is likely in the bag and the jury is so far to the left that you get an O.J. Simpson acquittal and an O.J. Simpson joke trial.
You know, I've heard this, but they are seriously talking about, obviously just like Hitler and Nuremberg, military tribunals because it'd be too dangerous and you couldn't have a regular trial.
Gitmo's been refurbished. Gitmo's been thoroughly refurbished. It's in the process of being prepared for a new group of prisoners. The president has reviewed the executive orders which allow him to put U.S. citizens in Gitmo, not limited to foreign combatants. And
well, Hillary is a foreign combatant, but this is extremely dangerous. We'll be right back on the other side with Dr. Jerome Corsi. Stay with us. The globalists have been on a mission to overthrow the U.S. government. And all they do is invert reality. They call us anti-government. We're here to restore the U.S. government. And that's what's happening right now. It's not like they had some loving world government that everybody opted into that was trying to help people. You could debate whether we should be part of that or not. But no. Just like a country has states. So if one gets too corrupt or too out of control or you don't like what it's doing, you move to another. The world should be like that. But this world government is incredibly corrupt and out of control and is cancer. And Dr. Jerome Corsi was getting into the facts that an executive order has been in place dealing with globalists attacking the U.S., declaring a civil emergency to take their assets of the foreign nationals and banks. And you've seen like dominoes the globalists rolling over publicly, but intensifying their actual operations against Trump and America. So it sounds wild. It sounds crazy to say, oh, you know, you're getting ready to arrest all these people. The people that Trump's talking about going after, and this is really going on, are the ones saying kill the president, arrest everybody, get rid of free speech, cause race wars. The documents came out a month ago. Soros' son, it confirmed real documents, wanting to cause a race war in 2015. Obama and everybody was already trying this and announcing the UN would be over our police departments. So it forced patriots' hands because the wild authoritarianism of the left and the globalists was so real that it made people do all this. We're not the radicals doing all this. We look radical countering them because they're radical. As Barry Goldwater said, extremism in defense of liberty is no vice. So speak to that, Dr. Corsi. I'm going to give you the floor for the rest of this segment and where this is going and why the globalists act like they roll over at Davos but intensify their operations. What's the lay of the land right now? What do you expect to happen next? What are your sources telling you so we get next year's news today?
Well, first of all, Alex, I want to confirm something that you said earlier on a broadcast, namely that I was asked at very high levels to get involved with monitoring this QAnon intelligence source. And I've now been able to identify who Q is. I think I've got a very good idea how the Q group is put together and operates, and confirm that it's operating at a very high level in direct conjunction with President Trump. I'm not going to disclose who the group is, probably never. But the point is that, and Donald Trump doesn't need me. He's a brilliant, brilliant man. He doesn't need me to tell him what to do, and I'm not advising him. My role is to take what QAnon has been doing and other intelligence sources and make it available to a wider range of the American people who are not used to dealing with intelligence information. It needs to be decoded. It needs to be interpreted.
That's our mission, is take this complex info to the people to then mobilize them.
And I've been assisted in this also. Word out. I couldn't have done it without being affiliated with you, Alex, and with this program. It's been a real honor. I've also been assisted by this group, Calm Before the Storm, which is at CBTS_stream. I've been working with them on decodes that we've been posting here on InfoWars. I've been posting on my YouTube channel. We've been doing it almost daily. And there's a whole record of these decodes, which are available on InfoWars and are archived, and also my YouTube channel. What we're doing is we're trying to get the American people to understand that we are in a state of emergency. It's been declared by the president. The U.S. military is taking a larger exceptional role. I mean, 3 years ago, I was told by a very high group in the military that during Obama's administration, that a coup had been very seriously discussed and was actually in the planning, a military coup to take over the government.
And for those that don't know, can you confirm that a lot of people actually got counter hit by, a bunch of people got killed or even discussing it by Obama's people?
They've been or retired or drilled out of the military. But they decided to stand down at the end, last minute, and they were a part of the group that really did ask Trump to run for president. And that group is still behind Donald Trump, but now they're going to reestablish the Constitution through legitimate means. And they're going to take constitutional steps to restore the republic. Now, the predicate's being laid. If you begin to watch, if you couldn't come out and just basically say we're going to charge Hillary and Obama with treason, but as
you had to trick them to accuse, you had to trick them to accuse Trump of it.
Well, they certainly did that, and then also with the information that is being released and how it's being released, uh, Donald Trump was able to get the American people conditioned to what's going on. This last prosecution of 13 Russian trolls who had about as much impact on the election as a drop of water in the ocean. And what's coming, what we've reported here on InfoWars, the information that the Department of Homeland Security continued the voting study and will be releasing shortly, there was massive election fraud, including several million illegals who voted, legally cast ballots destroyed, Democratic Party, massive voter fraud. These begin to get in the American people's public the idea of how deep and how dangerous was the attempt to destroy the Constitution. The pieces are going to start fitting together. And this has to happen this way because the American people have to be prepared for what the storm we're going to go through when these charges are actually brought and the arrests are made. And they're going to be extensive. Now, I've confirmed, and I'm comfortable that Jeff Sessions, even though President Trump would like him to move a little quicker, Pompeo, these are people who are working directly with Donald Trump, and the plans are being laid very carefully in the background. You'll see that, the next few weeks, the counterattack has started. Mueller might as well. I think Mueller should close up his shop pretty soon, because if he doesn't, and he may yet be under investigation himself. I
was about to say, we'll do the last segment as you get more time, because this is so critical. I kept hearing from a bunch of people that Mueller had actually rolled over and stuff. I didn't believe it, but now his indictment comes out and admits it was all anti-Trump stuff and everything. It's crazy. Well,
Mueller's going to have a choice. He's either going to be able to roll over and face some minimal charges for having suppressed the information on Uranium One, or he's going to go down with the ship. And he's got his choice, because the way he organized this special prosecutor team was initially he thought he'd hit the mother lode and he was going to make a big score. What he found out is, collusion with Russia is not even a crime, and there's no evidence that Donald Trump colluded with anybody Russian. And the whole idea was silly and pathetic. And his only charges are against General Flynn and this other lawyer for lying to the FBI. This is about to fall apart because Mueller made the mistake of bringing this guy, Andrew Weissman, in his team, who is about as crooked a prosecutor as you can get.
Sure, he's been caught breaking all the rules, committing crimes, reportedly. We're going to go to break, come back, and give you more time. This is so critical. But let me ask you this question. Because they act like we're attacking the FBI or the government to say there's corruption. Word is like 80% of the FBI, I hear, is actually awake and doesn't like this. They tried to put some leftists in, but this claim that everybody is attacking the FBI. No, we're trying to get the criminals at the top out of the FBI. They're the ones discrediting the FBI.
We want to restore the FBI to its original mission, as well as the Department of Justice, and that is justice, which is the blind figure with the scales. What you had under Obama and Hillary was a politicalization and a weaponization of all these agencies and the IRS, which was an attempted coup by Hillary. It was actually treason and sedition that was planned in order to steal the election. And
they've been totally caught. It's blown up in their face massively. So let's look at the breaks. Let's look at the different ways this can go. Like, what happens if they do kill Trump? Because let me tell you, they're winding up mental patients and people around him everywhere. They're trying to get somebody to do it. They want to kill him. 16, 17 years ago, 20 years ago, 23 years ago on air. It's been that long now, 23 years coming up next month. No, it'll be 23 years in April. 2 months from now. I remember getting on air and saying, did that sound too extreme? Even though I'd be covering some real article about human-animal chimeras or whatever, I would still say, does this sound too insane? And now I look back and I think, no, we were pretty much dead on. And I just see how God's giving the people a choice. But whether they want to live under world government and want to live in this system of evil, or whether they want to try to change and be better people. And one of our biggest problems is good men and women who are basically good people aren't perfect, so they don't want to be leaders or want to be out front because they feel like it's arrogant. It's not arrogant. It's called survival, and I need you to get more active. And I know most of you are more active than I probably am. I'm talking to people who know they need to do more, who aren't doing more. Because let me tell you something. I'm listening to Corsi say all this, and I know the behind-the-scenes stuff, not just from his sources, but my sources, some of which are the same, some of which are different. You're getting the real sense of what's going on in the federal government. Hell, look at the Democrats. Kill Trump, kill his supporters, kill the NRA, kill everybody. And they're running around all crazy, and they're crazy. I mean, I had a woman on the hike and bike trail yesterday, and I'm ashamed that I said something mean back to her. I shouldn't have done it, but it was because she's not acting like a lady. And she goes, oh, ooh, shame on you. Get out of here. Get out of Austin. I mean, I'm not going to brag, but Travis County, I mean, my family raised Colonel Travis's son. My family was involved, my mom's side in particular, my dad's as well, starting the Revolutionary War. I mean, right at the heart of it, the whole 9 yards. I'm related to all the, a lot of the big Texas, and it's like, to have some, not even Californian, they're just some carpetbagger that went to California and it collapsed, so they're here. They don't even get, they just collapsed where they were from. They're on my ass. And that they say it. They say it at the grocery store. They say on the street. They go, get out of here. They knock my drink over at dinner. They get in my face. They go, boo, boo, get out of here. They're the intolerant people trying to usurp me. And they have such a spirit of usurpation that they love the radical Muslims who want to usurp me and love them. And it's like, I told her, I don't usually talk to women like that. I said, you get the hell out of here. Bring your damn cancer. I said, she goes, oh, I go, yeah, you're not from here, are you, lady? And did I say to you, get out of Texas? And that's what I mean. It's just like we are so open-hearted. We are so nice. And we put up, and I don't care whether you're from New York. I love Donald Trump. Or whether you're from Louisiana or whether you're from California. Some of the best people out there are original Californians of the stock of the people that went and founded California. That was more Wild West than Texas. We think of a Californian as kind of the locust, people that go from state to state, the scammers. And so I've had a lot of Californians go, hey, California's been a great state and great people, beautiful. You know, the 49ers we're Californians. Stop saying that. We want these damn people out of here too. So in closing with Dr. Corsi, because the war's coming up in about 6.5 minutes, it sounds radical what he's saying, but that's where the Democrats have taken us. They want war. They want civil war. They want race war. They want to kill the president. So there's going to be responses that are that big. We didn't draw first blood. I don't want martial law. They want martial law. I don't want civil war. They want civil war. I don't want civil emergency. They put us in an emergency. They said they want an emergency and to ban free speech and arrest all of us. Well, I'm a judicious person. I don't want violence. I don't want a thing to feel big. But if they're calling for it, best the little fire be put out before it causes a big fire. And I don't like putting people's flames out. But at a certain point, it comes down to the line of you let these people run around and announce their criminal intentions. It only lets them wind up more mentally ill people like them to have the bravado, the arrogance, the chutzpah, the hubris. And my gut says, give them no quarter, don't back down. You can't appease these people. In closing, Dr. Corsi, this is the climate we're in. What's the time frame? What's the word on the enemy's operations, on their moralization, on their morale, where they are?
Well, it'd be a very bad idea to assassinate Donald Trump. It would be the worst thing that the left, the communists, the socialists ever tried to do. I've known Donald Trump for 40 years. He's a brilliant man. He deep thinker, deep planner. He's envisioned and thought 10 steps ahead in terms of where things could end up with or without him. God willing, he's going to be here. He'll be the best to lead us through this storm. The steps are being put into place. They are very systematically being put into place, where the American public is getting to see step by step the true nature of the criminal conspiracy, the coup d'etat that just about took America and stole it. The Constitution would have been destroyed under Hillary. We're now getting the intelligence we need to prepare everyone for what's coming. And what's coming, I think, is going to be a restoration of the republic, but it's only going to occur when there's a massive cleaning out of this deep state bureaucracy. And I mean massive, with top heads across the board in justice, in the IRS, throughout the intelligence agencies, being brought to justice for their sedition, their treasonous activities, daring to think they were above the Constitution. I've been privy to getting increasing amounts of intelligence and increasing amounts of insight onto this, and we're doing our best to get it out to the American public. My book will be out in March 13th. Alex, we're going to do the first interview of it here. No one else is going to get the first interview on this book. It's going to be the inside story from exactly where the Trump administration sees this endgame being played. And the book is going to be called Killing the Deep State. And I can assure you that if anyone's going to be killed around here, it's going to be the deep state. Donald Trump is a new sheriff in town. He's got a nice pair of 6-shooters to pull the trigger. People are saying, well, where are the arrests? Why don't we get the indictments today? Be patient. It's all being set up and planned. And while it's in the process, you're going to see massive revelations, not only on the corruption where the Democrats and Hillary and Obama actually fostered the nuclear programs in Iran and North Korea. You're going to see the massive pedophilia that is at the heart of this globalism, the child trafficking, selling of human parts, including children. It's going to be horrifying. Many people are not going to be able to go the full route, and you shouldn't go the full route of the information that's going to be exposed. It's going to be too psychologically disturbing. But the global criminals are going to be brought to justice. And, Alex, their wealth is going to be confiscated. When Donald Trump gets finished with round two, or this round, we're in round two now. This is the second phase. The attack on Donald Trump failed. This is the counterattack. Third phase, I would say that the attack on the Federal Reserve, the redoing of all the crimes going back to Woodrow Wilson, income tax, Federal Reserve, all these are going to be re-examined.
So the emancipation of the republic is about to happen, and that's why they are so scared of Trump. It's why they're panicking, because they've done the real psychological analysis and realized what blew up in their face. Thank you, Dr. Corsi. Larry Klayman's been lobbying to be the special counsel. Who would be a special counsel to, or I don't think that's even enough.
Yes, it would be Andrew McCarthy's my choice for special counsel. Larry's great, but Andrew McCarthy would be terrific. But Alex, I want to say that the role that you played and the show has played is also acknowledged at the White House. It's acknowledged at top levels. And you are monitored and watched and appreciated at the highest levels of government. That's what I would like to say on that. I want to make sure you know that.
I know that, but it's what matters is the fight, because it's not that we're all that good. It's that the Democrats and the globalists are that bad.
It is the fight. Yeah. Well, also, you and I are neither one of us in it. It's not ego. It's not about us. What it's about is the saving of the republic.
And listeners need to know, this is real. I know you already know, but you see the horror of the enemy. It's because they know what they've done, and they know that people are now standing up against them, thank God. Thank you, Dr. Corsi. We appreciate you. We'll keep watching your articles at Infowars.com and following you on Twitter. We'll be back. We're back live, and if we're building up how epic things are, it is. World government's been openly announced. The permanent deep state's out in the open. Trump is just devastating the globalists. We're waking people up. You're waking people up. Alex Newman's with us. We've got Dr. Corsi. I hope they'll ride a little bit with me into the fourth hour. I'm going to be hosting today. But I don't see how they get this authoritarianism through now that it's been exposed. Even if they kill Trump or shut us down, what they're doing is so villainous, Dr. Corsi, and Alex Newman, jump in anytime you want, that I don't see how they put Humpty Dumpty back together again. They can go on for a while, but historically, there's just no way for them to be successful.
Right, Alex. This is, I think, the beginning of a Trump counterattack, and Donald Trump has gotten it started so effectively. I think it would continue with or without Donald Trump, although I think Donald Trump is probably the most brilliant politician I've ever seen to carry this off, exposing the deep state. But it's going to start, I think, with this General Flynn conviction, or this pleading guilty to.
Yeah, the judges recused themselves. It's all admittedly illegal. The word is they may have to drop the case.
Yeah, I think so. And also, you've got crooked prosecutors, and the judge is on to it because the judge is demanded under this Brady rule the exculpatory evidence.
That's the new judge.
Given over to the defense. The new judge. This is a judge appointed by George W. Bush. His name is Marshall. He's a very good judge, and he's really onto the idea that the FBI agent that supposedly Flynn lied to was this guy Peter Strzok, who is anti-Trump, determined to get Trump out of office, keep Trump out of office, and by lying to Strzok, it's not credible because Strzok was also modified.
Sure, so the whole thing's disintegrating, and the media tries to ignore it, but the whole indictment is about Russians protesting Trump and putting on Michael Moore events in New York. I mean, how do they get away with this, Alex Newman?
Their propaganda is now starting to fail. The fake media continues to blabber about this as if it were a real scandal. I'm starting to wonder if they're going to run out of tinfoil pretty soon here with all their conspiracy theories about Trump and Russia. But I think Trump has played this in a way where it's really going to blow up in their face. If the Mike Flynn indictment comes apart, I think people are going to go back and look at everything that has been said, and I think the wheels are coming off the bandwagon. Humpty Dumpty, great metaphor. They're not going to be able to get the toothpaste back in the tube at this point. And you're right, no matter what they do, if they start censoring the internet, if they kill the president, God forbid, too many people know now this information is out. People are not going back to sleep. And, this stuff with the FBI, this is just scratching the surface. And so we go over some of that in our deep state special report. The FBI and some of these politicized leading bureaucrats, including at the CIA and the NSA and other places, they're part of the deep state, but they're also connected to the deep state behind the deep state that I think we need to look at as well, the Bilderberg Group. If you look at Michael Hayden, who ran the CIA and the NSA, this guy's a Bilderberg attendee. He's a Council on Foreign Relations member. He brags. You can see the video of him on YouTube bragging that they kill people based on their metadata. I mean, this stuff is not going away. These people need to be indicted. And so hopefully Trump will clean house here. The FBI will be turned into a legitimate law enforcement agency again, and we can start prosecuting some of these criminals who are conspiring against the president of the United States. This NSA guy who said that, the war in the intelligence community is going to a new level and we're going to take down Trump. He's going to die in jail. We need to find out who all these people were that were conspiring against the elected president of the United States. And we need to have real
Well, that's the next thing. The left is saying, kill NRA members. They're buying billboards. You've got all these CIA people saying the deep state's going to kill Trump. They're all going to die in prison. That is organized, serious individuals saying that. If a regular person says that, they should get in trouble or go to jail or at least get interrogated. When you've got people that have their pencil pushers like Mudd, but he would order the people to go out and kill people, CIA kill teams. When a guy that's ordered CIA kill teams around is saying we're going to kill the president, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'd expect in America, I'm point blank, man. People used to do that. They'd have a canoe accident 2 days later. You can't do that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying go after Phil Mudd. I'm saying you'd be dead doing that. So that means they think they're going to be able to make a real move on the president and on this country, Dr. Corsi. What do you say?
Well, I think Trump has already turned the tide. I mean, this executive order that Donald Trump signed on December 21st, in which he declared we're in a national emergency situation, and the Treasury can confiscate right now the assets of anybody involved in serious human trafficking or corruption. Well, Soros put something like $87 billion into his foundation. Eric Schmidt resigned from Alphabet the next day and kind of went into hiding. He's going to surface as a teacher at MIT. I mean, these, I think, are the deep state is aware that Donald Trump's going to come after their assets.
And Michael Savage said this last hour. He said he thinks the day is coming when these globalists jump on their airplanes and hightail it. And I think it's the day that we start. I agree that Trump's on the offense now, but how long can he wait till he really goes after these people? I mean, when they've got CIA kill team leaders on TV saying we're going to kill the president, I mean, I'd expect a SWAT team to kick down his door that night.
Well, my intelligence was that there was a attempt made on the president even within the last week, and military intelligence is taking a greater effort in protecting the president right now than ever before. In fact, this latest...
Wait, that's a huge bombshell. See, I got you on about how you broke all the news. in dozens of articles about how it was really leftists funding bot farms to then attack and running demonstrations. And I said, you said, I can't get into all of this White House source. And then now that's confirmed. You're saying there was an attempt in the last week on the president.
Yes, it was a serious attempt on the president in the last week, and military intelligence was the one who found out about it and brought the data over to the Secret Service, and they were able to very quietly and quickly apprehend the person. This has, again, been not very widely publicized. I'm not sure anybody knows about it, but it was I've got it confirmed and had it confirmed through intelligence sources that the military is now, military intelligence, specifically Army, has been much more involved on a daily basis with protect codes and other efforts to make sure that the security.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about this at 6 after, because I want to think about what I want to say here and how much I want to get into on all this for a lot of reasons. But we'll talk about it once we come back in the next hour. Finishing up, though, gentlemen, Alex Newman and Dr. Corsi both, what's their next move? I mean, they say they're going to try to kill the president. That's it. We'll talk about it more next hour. But what else are they going to do? Clearly, they're trying to kick off some type of civil war as well.
Yeah, and I think there's a risk, too, that they could come after the economy. You know, the soaring stock market, people getting bigger paychecks now after the tax cut. We know, Alex, I know you know, and Dr. Corsi, I know you know as well, the globalists have massive economic resources at their disposal. They own the central banks, and the central banks right now are massive players in the stock market. All they would have to do is start selling off some of the stocks that they own, and they could cause a cratering in prices. So I think we need to be very careful that the globalists do not succeed in crashing the economy and blaming Donald Trump, blaming conservative policies, blaming the tax cut. I think they've thought about doing this for a long time, and I think they wouldn't hesitate to do it if they thought that they could succeed. So we need to be on guard, and we need to make sure the American people understand what's going on here.
Well, I'm not a precipitous person and a violent person. I'm just saying the type of behavior we're seeing, they need bloody noses to stop it so that it doesn't escalate. And so, A, do you agree? B, how does the president inflict bloody noses?
Special prosecutor at this point would be brilliant. Trump ought to put a special prosecutor in to investigate all of these conspiracies against him, the deep state, the corrupt FBI, and all the rest of it, the FISA court. And go ahead, Dr. Corsi. I'm sure you have awesome ideas as well.
No, that's a very good suggestion, and I think Senator Grassley's already, with Senator Graham, proposed a special prosecutor. Very quietly, the White House press, when President Trump was in Ohio recently, he used the word traitor, referring to the Democrats and the deep state.
And they are.
And White House counsel on that airplane returning to the White House confirmed that it was White House press secretary, deputy press secretary, that White House counsel has approved the appointment of a special counselor once the Department of Justice recommends it. So the White House has already given a green light to another special prosecutor. It's just a matter of time, I think, until it's actually done.
That's right. And my issue is I don't want to get into too much of what's going on with the president's security, even though I've known since the campaign, just from sources, what was going on with it. But obviously the globalists know this. They've tried to have it removed. The Secret Service, and I'm not saying they're all bad, but they've tried to have it removed because they're territorial. But yeah, it's been the military protecting Trump all along. And, of course, that's come out in the Intercept with Eric Prince and things. But I can confirm that. And I mean, I have really bombshell information that obviously the globalists, I'm pretty sure, know. I almost want to put it out to demoralize them, though, but I don't want to damage the presidency or help them. That's a very complex issue since you guys brought this up. And, Corsi, I know about the stuff you're talking about, so let's come back in the next hour. But I want to finish up briefly on what the deep state's doing now that it's been exposed. Back in 70 seconds. Stay with us. Newswars.com. Spread that link. They're doing everything they can to try to block our transmission. Newswars.com. Everybody knows you get tomorrow's news today here. And by the way, it's not that hard to get tomorrow's news today if you actually research. So I'm not saying we're even that special. They're just a bunch of cowards out there and people that parrot stuff and follow whatever mainstream says. And they've kept everybody in this artificial echo chamber so long. But now that people understand kind of like THX 1138, they're down in a subterranean area. As soon as they figure out there's a surface, there's nothing you can do. The genie's out of the bottle. The horses already got out of the barn. They're not coming back. So what does globalism do now? Alex Newman, final segment with you. We're going to come back with Dr. Corsi for at least 30 more minutes. as an expert on globalism, as a journalist, as a New American magazine writer on this excellent special issue on deep state, now that deep state's out in the open and suffering such huge losses globally, all these shadow corporate groups, all these monopolists, what are they going to do next?
You know, I think they're out of weapons in their arsenal, Alex. They've used everything they had. They blew all their firepower trying to stop Trump and trying to derail you and the John Birch Society, all the patriots, and they have nothing left now. So I suspect they'll keep doing what they've been doing. They'll keep trying to demonize people. They'll say that anyone who talks about the deep state is kooky or racist or anti-Semitic, even though more than half of Americans now recognize it exists. They may come out with extreme ideas like trying to crash the economy or injure the president or even kill the president, as Roger Stone explained it last month. So, you know, we are in a dangerous area. When you corner a dangerous animal, it becomes even more dangerous because it recognizes that it's either, you know, fight or die. So we are in a very, very dangerous situation. But I think we're also in an amazing situation in that millions of Americans have now woken up. There's no chance they're going to go back to sleep. And no matter what the deep state, no matter what the globalist establishment does at this point, they're out of options. So, you know, I think their best strategy would be to lay low and say, oh, you know, you guys are just imagining stuff. We never did anything wrong. Here's all the money, by the way. But, you know, I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll keep fighting until the end. And so we need to keep exposing them and keep fighting back.
Because globalists are obsessed with dominating the West. Dr. Corsi, how do you see this issue? Because I don't want to be overconfident. I know we're starting to win because humanity's awakening, but I just feel in my gut we've got to be really watchful right now. I can just feel the evil.
Well, I think that's one of the